Hi, we're the founders of Artificial Intelligence Risk, Alec and Frank here. And I have a couple of questions for Alec as we're coming up on this new date here on February 1st with the Colorado Artificial Intelligence Act. And we have to make sure that we're compliant with everything and make sure that we got everything in there. So I think it's great to have you, and maybe you can explain a little bit about what this act means and some of the implications it's going to have for Colorado as being the first state.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Yeah, I think this is going to be super important because a lot of other states may copy it. And there are a bunch of rules in there about managing the risks of AI, and they're very, very specific. And what's interesting is that there's an escape clause in there. And it's basically, look, if you follow the national rule, which is the National Institute of Science and Technology uh, risk management framework for AI, or the AI RMF, as a lot of people call it.
NIST,
You
I
get,
believe. Yeah.
yeah, you get a get out of jail free card, right? So I think what might happen is you might see tons and tons of states passing these rules. That's going to be really hard to kind of keep up with and keep track of and comply with. So in general, I think this NIST AI risk management framework is going to become the default for most companies. And the crazy thing is this kicks in February 1st, right? This is
Yeah.
not like, happening next year or whatever. And they're really, if we take a look at both that rule, but more broadly, the NIST AI risk management framework, there are really four parts, right? So the first part is governing, which is you need to have AI policies, which is basically like, what are you going to do with AI? What do you not do with AI? Like, who's in charge? What models are you using? How do you think about the risks around that? Things along those lines. But it's also got to be programmatic, right? It's not just like,
Mm.
hey, let's do this. You need software to govern this stuff and centralize it at your companies so you know who's doing what with AI. And then the next part of that, the second part, is mapping. And that's really who's allowed to do what with AI, with what models, with what data sets, because the last thing you want is for everybody to be an AI super user at your company with access to all the data, all the documents, everyone's emails, all this crazy stuff. That is not just a cybersecurity disaster waiting to happen. That's also, going to fall afoul of this new rule, obviously. And you and I both know that there have been companies out there that have onboarded things like, a super user copilot type thing. And then, you know,
Yeah.
day one, someone says, "Hey, how much money does my boss make?" And they get not just the answer for that, but the entire bonus structure for the management team, right? So mapping is super important. Who can do what with AI, and effectively that's similar to what we do at Artificial Intelligence Risk in our AirGPT platform. Is we help our clients create AI agents that do different jobs, and then as people are onboarded to the company, let's say they're in the call center, they get automatically access to those agents, right? Whereas if you're in the CFO's office, you have access to a completely different set of agents, and
Yep.
never the twain shall meet, right? So super, super important. The third piece of the rule is measuring who's using AI, what are they using it for? If you're in a regulated industry, you need to keep track of every chat, every model used, every model update, all those fun things. And you need an e-discovery tool to be able to go back in there and say, well, what did this user do? Or what did
Yeah.
happen with this model? Or you emailed something to a client. Like, was that what the AI said? Or did you change it before it went out? All those
Exactly.
things are going to be super, super critical. And they have to be in an immutable compliance database. They can't just be wandering around in some random engineer's log or something like that. That's not going to work. Also, they've got to go across all your different AI models. If you happen to be using OpenAI most of the time, but occasionally dabble with Mistral, like, you got to centralize this somewhere. And you need a team to be able to monitor that and measure that, and also figure out what are the risks. In other words, if someone says thumbs down on an answer from AI because it was wrong, you've got to be able to keep track of that. And you have to have a process for seeing what went wrong and how do we fix it. And again, that's a large part of what we do at
Well,
Artificial Intelligence Risk. And then the the fourth part is managing. So obviously, as things go wrong or things go right, you need to be able to fix things or create new agents or have policies around that. And in addition, basic cybersecurity stuff, right? So how often do you plan to re-authenticate the admins from your AI system? Stuff like that, which is obviously super important. So the
I
short
think
version.
it's I think it's really interesting too, and just kind of seeing when you said managing those models, making sure that, well, especially with some of these smaller models or open source, they're sitting on laptops now too, because they're not providing that access to individuals to allow them to use it. And, giving that access to people is really important, so it's utilized correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, the short version is the Colorado AI rule kicks in February 1st. You can try to comply with whatever it is, 100 pages, or you can comply with the NIST AI risk management framework, which is something we facilitate full compliance with at Artificial Intelligence Risk with the Air GPT platform. If you want to learn more, go to AICrisk.com and you can get a free trial or a free demo. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.